And we are live on our guest's phone.
Oh, hey, Shanique's friends.
And this is what happens on a live show. Oh. Welcome to the Motivation Monday Show.
Let me get my little watch party started.
Hey guys.
Welcome back. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
You already know us.
Right? Jessica and Keisha, right? Here at Level Up. Come have your event here. Come and hire me for your event hosting needs. We want to make sure that you guys are supporting us as well.
Absolutely.
Very important. I'm being very transparent.
Thank you.
It's needed. Also, Keisha, I love the post that you did today. And I love that you're really trying to keep the marathon alive. May Nipsey Hussle rest in peace. But I love the ad that, I don't know if you guys saw, it was an ad that she had that said, tag your business. 2 people thanked me, and I said, well, I thank Keisha. They messaged me. It worked. 2 people hit them up, and I'm happy to do that. Yay! For others, and this is what we're trying to do here.
And you know what? Let me tell you something.
That was nice of you to do that.
Yes, thank you. You know, you get more by giving. I sat having my soup. Yeah. I guess when she saw me come out of the restaurant, I had picked up a repast just like that. So you give more, you get more.
That's what
and you
it's
don't
about.
Give with just in expectance of getting.
Right.
It was just by, faith. I sow in faith and then I reap, successfully. And I'm very grateful for that.
That was nice. I like that.
So we want to be able to, keep the legacy alive for other business owners.
Absolutely.
Small, large, whatever.
So maybe you could do something every week, something like that. I like the idea that you did, so I had to put that out there.
Thank you.
So we are back here on the Motivation Monday show. We have such a great hot topic, such a great month to raise awareness to the communities. And we always go right to the weekend recap, especially when we have a guest. So let's get right into the weekend recap. Keisha, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, I took Thursday, Friday off, then I had a very long weekend. Yes, Jessica. I took rest and relaxation very seriously, but then I was very busy on Saturday because I supported Fashion for Purpose.
Fashion for Purpose.
Yes, Long Island Fashion show. It was really nice. It was my first time, and I went to see my girl Michelle, the owner of Bizou.
Okay.
Yes, finally met her. Saw a few of my associates. That was wonderful. Grayson invited me.
I saw Grayson there. Yes. I saw Jean. Hey, Jean.
Yes, Jean. She is hilarious.
So many different persons that I know in the community. Crystal Styles, Sunglass Diva.
Yes, love it.
And it was crazy because I tagged her in the support.
And I was like, hey, I saw you. And then the guy, Mel G. He was in the room, and I didn't even know. He was at Fashion for Purpose.
Oh, man. Mel's such a great guy. If you need a video, he's a videographer. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he does put people first. So that's why I was so happy to promote him today.
What about you, Jess? What did you do this weekend?
Talk about wellness. I went to the spa on Saturday. Yeah, y'all saw me in that bathing suit, though. Very risque, I must say, but I felt free. I got messages like, oh, this is not really like you. Well, it's swimwear, so I'm wearing it. And then Sunday, I was asked to come back to Fearless Women Radio. Amazing. Nice. I was their co-host, and great topics. Really great topics. Very good. I was happy to be there.
So very blessed and beautiful weekends, right?
Yes.
All right, so I guess we'll get right into it and welcome our guests for today.
Let's do it.
Welcome, everyone. Schaneick Thomas from Many Babies.
Come on over. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Come on in.
Please have a seat.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
She's shy now.
I know, right?
Yes, so welcome to Motivation Monday. I know you have watched us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And she has also commented, so we thank you for that.
Yes,
thank you so much. And, we are so much about community and providing resources to our viewers,
Yes.
and even to ourselves, because sometimes we just don't know.
No.
And that's why we love to bring, people like yourself to the table to educate us and also educate our viewers.
Yes.
So welcome to Motivation Monday, and we already prepped you. My question is, what is your why, Schaneick, in starting Many Babies?
My why is very simple. I have, some of you may not know, but I'm a mother of twin boys, and they're 11 years old, and they have the diagnosis of autism and ADHD. But in the initial stages, they weren't developing at the same rate as other children their age. And because raised in a black family, we're told that, they're boys, they'll catch up. And guess what? They never caught up. They did not catch up. So they weren't meeting the developmental milestones. And it wasn't until my husband and I had put them in a preschool in Queens called the Crayon Box. And they were only there for like 5 days. And the director told me, in a gentle way, and I'm paraphrasing that, I think you should have them evaluated. And I'm like, evaluated? What is that?
Right.
And she walked me through the process, and it was traumatizing, to say the least, because I had a very good pregnancy. For twins, I carried 38 weeks and 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah, that's very good.
And they were born, they had good birth weights. Christian was 5 pounds, 12 ounces, and Cameron, twin B, was 6 pounds, 6 ounces. So I had very big kids. And going through the process, going through the evaluation process, learning about learning disabilities and stuff like that, it was traumatizing, because nobody likes to think or suspect that there's something wrong with their child, or in my case, children. And when I went through the evaluation and I read the report, which was like this thick, and it was just things of just saying that this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and it became overwhelming to the point where I had to say stop.
Right.
And I tried not to cry, but I gave them that ugly cry. I couldn't help it, because the world that I had envisioned for them was now shattered.
Right.
And so, because of that process that I went through, getting the diagnosis, going through the different evaluations, going to the different therapists and things like that, I figured and I knew that there were other people who have been where I am, and people who are about to embark on where I've been. So I wanted to share what I knew with those families and let them know that you're not in this by yourself, and that the diagnosis isn't their destiny. It doesn't stop there. So, like, your child can have a normal life, but that normal life has to be redefined.
Right. I like that you said that, or some would say altered a bit.
Yeah.
But I like the word redefined, because there's more to autism than what you see.
Right, and there is, and you never judge a book by its cover, because when I met the boys, we already know, we met at church, Apostolic Temple, and they were just into right in front of them, their games, they had their what was it called? Nintendo at the time. They graduated to laptops now. They big boys.
Right.
Oh,
I was gonna say, how old are they now?
They're 11 years old now, and it wasn't until they reached the 3rd grade that they became on grade level. So, like, I really do want to encourage families and parents out there that although your child may be experiencing some delays now, it doesn't mean that they're going to experience those same delays as they get older and as they mature.
Right.
My boys weren't speaking in kindergarten. They weren't formulating full sentences in kindergarten. I would have to ask other kids in the class, little snitches.
Right.
Like, how was the teacher today? What the teachers mean? What the kids mean to my boys? Because my boys didn't have the language, the expressive language, to say, hey, the teacher was mean, or I was sad, or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had non-conventional ways of finding out what was going on with my children, and that became, it became my norm. So I'm able to do it, and I was able to accept it because that was my norm. And whatever roads that I needed to take, I was willing to take it. Whatever career paths I had to go down or embark on, I did that. Like, I quit my job. And
I was gonna say, a lot of
it's a full-time job.
Yes, I was gonna say, it seems like a lot of mothers that I follow, they quit their jobs because they said this is a full-time job.
It is.
Like you said, you need to find out what the teachers are doing. But I have a quick question. The school that he was in, this was a school, and I don't want to say the word normal, but it was a school for children that already are developed. It's not a specialty school. Because some parents do that. Why did you choose to keep them around students?
Well, the world that we live in is not specialized.
Okay. Right.
Children that have some, different types or certain types of learning disabilities, what they see, what they're exposed to is their norm.
Okay.
And because being in a restrictive environment where it's very self-contained, that's another term that's used in the special needs community or special education community, that is not indicative or reflective of the world, of the real world. So my children need to know how to manage and how to how to move about in the real world.
Right.
Everyone is not kind. Everyone is not empathetic, understanding,
Right. Trained.
Trained,
Right.
nor educated. And I really don't like the word tolerant, but it's a word that we have to use. Not everybody is tolerant of people who have different
Special needs.
And patient.
Patience is the key, and patience
also-
is something that we don't possess.
Right. When you and your husband, I guess, figured out that your children weren't developing, how did it take a toll, or not, or lack of a better word? How did your dynamic change as a husband and wife who just, who thought, our kid would be developed at a certain age, but now they're not? I just wanted to know, how did your husband deal with that? Because two boys, you think about your legacy and your lineage, I just wanted to know, how did your husband take the news, or how has he developed since then?
He was very hands-on he basically let me take the lead on it. So like if I said that it was all right, he trusted that it was going to be all right. If I said that I was going to handle it, he trusted I was going to handle it. So it was like we split the responsibilities, but we came together on the things that mattered in our relationship. Meaning like he let me take the reign on the therapies, the doctors, and the academics, while he took care of the household.
Right. I like that. The finance, right? Because somebody had to work.
Right.
Yes, somebody had to do it, and so he chose to do that. And so he found comfort. If he saw that I was worried, then that was concern for him.
Right.
If I didn't show any worry or concern, and I was like, I got this, then he was more at ease. But he exercised more patience, and it changed the way that we parent. We couldn't parent our children the way that our parents raised us.
Right.
Because we came from you do as I say, do as you're told.
Right.
And then here with us, we had to explain, like, you don't touch this because, or we had to give them alternatives. So like the instinctive or the innate ability that we're born with to critical think or to make inferences is learned for our sons. So we had to give them different scenarios as to this is why you don't do this, and if you choose to do this, then this can happen, that can happen, or if you chose to do this, then this can happen and that can happen, and is that what you want to feel? Because they weren't really in tune with their feelings. They couldn't express that this was painful, or this was, or being able to distinguish when somebody's angry versus sad. That was learned through therapies.
I have a question. What kind of help did you receive after the boys were diagnosed and you said, okay, how did you go to the very next step? Because this is going to help a lot of parents that are new.
Out there,
Because I have an autistic child in my family, my niece. She's autistic, yes. Cameron, still a vivacious, feisty little girl.
Right.
But, she has some challenges because of, autism, the spectrum, whatever. But I told the parents, don't let autism define your child. And don't let the teachers define your child. Yeah. So go ahead, my love.
Yeah.
Now, I don't expect everyone to do what I did. But I would encourage you to do some of the things that I did.
Okay.
In terms of educating yourself, autism shows up differently for every child.
Right.
Even though I have twins and they both have the diagnosis, separate behaviors.
Really?
Yeah, very separate behaviors, very distinctive behaviors. So what I did was I educated myself on the diagnosis. Now, I went to school. I went back to college and got my master's in curriculum and instruction because I wanted to. I didn't want the sole responsibility to fall on the teachers. I didn't want to rely on the teachers or the education system to educate my sons.
Correct.
That is so major.
I wanted to speak the language. So, like, I knew the terminology. I knew, okay, well, how do you identify children who are at risk? There's a model called the RTI model, response to intervention. And there are 3 phases of that. Did you try out all 3 phases on my sons? And how did you collect your data?
She don't play.
Wait,
When
first,
did you...
wait, do you guys
She
understand?
don't
Like, I
play.
literally legit got goosebumps and want to hug you because you went to school to speak the language. Some people don't even want to watch
Take
a
that
YouTube
extra-
video to see, you know what I mean, to educate themselves. But go ahead, I'm blown away. Oh my God.
Well, no, because I needed to...
She has 2 boys.
Yeah, I have 2 sons, and
Whether
those
she
are my
had
legacies.
one, yeah.
I made it work. Nothing else was more important than my children. Outside of God, nothing else was important. I wanted to speak the language because I wanted the educators to know that that Christian and Cameron have parents that are totally
Involved,
vested.
yes.
That is the key
Very
word,
much so. Mm-hmm.
involvement. A lot of us are not.
We're
We
just
talk
hands
about
off.
We're just,
Instead of being hands-on, knowing.
Yeah.
Because that's how you'll be able to pick up differences in your kid. You know what I mean? Like, who would want to be like just, no, you deal with it. No.
Yeah, there's a lot of parents out there
No.
like that. And before she continues, guys, don't forget it was very interactive. As
Yes.
always, please, if
Austin
got
is
questions.
saying,
you have any questions,
Austin.
Austin say, what's up? She says, say back, sis.
Hey,
Everyone-
Baxis.
Everyone is not tolerant, and
Yeah.
she said, say that.
please,
Keisha.
let us know. She's open.
Anybody?
Yeah,
no.
I'm totally open for questions if you have them.
Jordan, keep doing your thing. You've always been an inspiration.
Yes.
And,
thank you.
Just talk about how amazing you look.
Flawless. Beat to the gods.
Oh, I just put this on real quick.
So you said, so you educated yourself so
Yeah.
you can be able to be at the table and know what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then to take it a step further, that was when they were first diagnosed with it. So my boys were, toddlers when they got the diagnosis. And then when they got into kindergarten, I said, oh no, I got to step up my game because the special education reform is sick. Meaning like there's a lot of layers to pull back. You have to know about the steps of going through the IEP process, which is your individual education plan or program. People use the term interchangeably. When you go to that table, you need to know what type of test that they are administrating to your child. You need to know.
With her face, she's like, wow.
No, I'm blown away. Go ahead, continue.
No, you need to know, and then also you need to take it a step further. Like, what time of day are you testing my child? Did you remove him or her from an activity that they wanted to play in or participate in? Because that will affect the results in the test. Because a kid would be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Just to get it done.
Yeah, or they might be combative and like, no, I don't want to take it. Wow. And then that will skew the results, and then you'll have you won't have an accurate or a pure diagnosis. I also encourage families, because I did it too. I had the Department of Education do evaluations, but I also had an independent evaluation as well.
Okay, so
I
now
wanted
because
to
you
compare.
said the system, I'm gonna get an independent to make sure it's concurrent to what they
Yes,
said.
so just to see where the discrepancies are, if any, and whether or not the recommendations are targeting where the deficits are. Because you can get a diagnosis and they can give you a plan on how to, I don't want to say fix, but cope. Or learn how to have a different desired outcome, but that might not be accurate for your child. And if you only have one evidence,
then.
Then what do you have to base it off of?
Right. Exactly. And I didn't have a point of reference because I didn't have anybody else in my family that I knew that had a formalized diagnosis or went through the program. So, like, these are some of the things that I did, and I can go on and on and on about that, but just for the sake of time. So I went back to school, and I also went to a lot of parent workshops, include NYC, phenomenal. They have parent workshops day and evening. Wow. I also affiliated myself with United We Stand because I got a parent advocate to teach me how to advocate not only on my behalf but on behalf of my children. Wow. And the one important key element I want to encourage families that have loved ones with special needs is that you have to do what's in the best interest of your child or of your loved one. Okay. It's very easy to do what's in the best interest of you.
Yes,
because
I think I see that very often. Just for you to cope and for you to feel comfortable, you're just doing things, but it's not for the child.
For the best interest for the child.
And somebody has a comment. Tress Walker, I am too very blown away. Talk about dedication, husband, kids with challenges, and she went back to school for her master's. Mm-hmm. So basically, what I'm getting from this, there's no cop out. There's no easy way.
No easy way.
And even though her children, are special needs, you have parents that are not doing anything, and their kids just need attention. You gave them all of this attention so they can succeed. It's the same gems that you can use for your, you know what I mean?
I wish they were here now.
You know,
I almost brought them.
Because I just wanted to show the audience. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, when I met them to now, I'll be like, hey, what's up? Keisha! Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like, and they're bright kids. Hey, Debbie, how are you?
Hi, Debbie.
You know, they're bright kids. They're lovable. Like sometimes... not them, but some autistic children can be very combative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they don't understand, and it depends on the age level too. You know, very combative, very rough, and want their own way. But what toddler doesn't?
Right.
You know
Socialization is a very difficult skill for them.
Mm-hmm. It's harder.
I see it at the hospitals.
It's harder.
Children, it's just different.
But they're frustrated.
Right.
More times, you know, than they'd like to be. They're because some of them can't communicate.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. You know, my niece is going through speech therapy because her thank God for my brother and her mother, very hands-on. You know what I mean? Very hands-on. I think we spoke about them, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, because I want the best for my family. Anybody that has, because it's challenging. It's challenging. It's not something that you're used to.
Exactly. And I love that because it was something so new for her and her husband. You guys see, she went to school, like she
put it all.
She put it out, right. And a lot of us, like I said, don't even want to open up a basic book or go on a blog or anything like that. But to go back to Many Babies, what resources do you... Is this something where people come to you for resources, or what exactly is the organization? What is it about?
They're more than welcome to come to me, but I find that I have to go to them. So when you have... I have to go to them.
I've been to one of her workshops or her meetings.
And I not only... I'll go almost anywhere. Almost anywhere I will go on an invitation. Okay. I will go to churches, social groups. I also go into the schools. I get invited in the public schools. I work with the Thrive Initiative from NYC Wells.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, you see the wellness ads in NYC Wells for the mental health. They have a Thrive Initiative where they have mental health consultants that are assigned to all the schools in the 5 boroughs. Okay. And they will call me and ask me to either do a professional development training for the teachers or a workshop for the parents and families. So I do it all. Depending on the need of the school determines the topic that I address, whether it's autism, emotional disturbances, classroom management, how to recognize the signs, how to help families accept what's going on with their children.
I like that one. Not to cut you.
It's hard.
How hard was that to say, okay, these are my children, all right? Now, I know what they said they are. Mm-hmm. How do you accept and say, okay, these are my children, and I'm going to love them unconditionally? And because I know it's hard. I see parents like, when they come,
They
they
struggle.
give up. They're like, and I'm not being, you know, I don't want to be rude, but they say I don't want to bring them back home, and so we have to call social workers. You know, they're not brave like you. I know you said you mentioned God. So is it a spiritual thing? How do you wake up and be strong? Because I know there's people out there they
That
want to
are
drop
not
them
able
off
to
and don't.
cope.
Yeah, I'm like you don't want your child to like I can't do it anymore. How do you continue?
That's difficult. My faith in God definitely gives me the drive to push forward and to persevere. And I'll tell you a really quick story. There was a parent that I spoke to, and her daughter is severely challenged. I mean, where she's not verbal, and she came in from another country, and she married a man who knew what challenges that she faced with her child, and he said that it wasn't an issue. Well, once she brought her daughter over, it became an issue, and she struggled, and she did not want to put her in a
Home.
Yeah, I was just trying to find a nice word for it, but she ended up having to do that.
But a man?
I won't say for the man, because she also had another child that she also had to think about, and she had no support from him, and she left her home, which was in the Caribbean.
Yeah, to come here. Okay.
So she didn't have any support here as well.
see that was
So there's guilt there. And so the advice that I gave to her was, you have to do what's in the best interest of your child.
Right.
You have one that has a lot of needs, and then you have one that doesn't have those same challenges.
Right.
So you have to think about both of them. And it doesn't
That's
make you a
tough.
bad
Yeah, I was going to say that.
It doesn't make you a bad parent, because you have to put your child someplace else where he or she can get the help that they need.
How old was the child with the
6.
I don't know if I don't know.
The child is 6 years old who was
That had the
home?
challenge. That had the special needs.
That's a big, that's a big child. At 6 years old, you're gonna just
Yes.
say.
Yes.
I mean, of course, we're not judging this woman, but it's hard for me to understand how she
It's
got to that.
difficult.
It
And
has to be rough.
so what she didn't need from me was judgment, but what
Correct.
she needed from me was encouragement that says that, listen, I know you in the trenches right now, but you can do this. God wouldn't give you anything that you could not handle.
Right.
And God knew that you had the talents and the gifts to parent this child, your daughter. And she will always be your daughter. And don't let anybody guilt you into the decisions that you have to make, because it is you who have to provide for her. It is you that have to love her. It is you that have to go through the different milestones with her, not me or anyone else.
Wow.
So don't let anyone guilt you. If you can live with it, you ask God to give you the strength
Right.
to go through it, and just know that this is temporary. This is not permanent. And that's another thing that I want to tell families, that the condition, the way that they are today, is not going to be there tomorrow.
Right.
It just
That's
won't. And what I did to encourage myself was, with my boys, I'm like, okay, they're not speaking at 5, but they will be speaking at 10.
I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
Even if they didn't make it at 10, I'm like, well, I'll bump it up.
Right.
They'll
Right,
be
right.
speaking
you
at
were
12.
flexible with your timeline. I think a lot
Absolutely.
of
You don't
people
beat
aren't.
yourself up.
Yes,
if
Keisha,
it
and I think a
doesn't
lot of
happen.
parents in her situation, they put so much pressure on themselves.
And the
like,
child.
hurry up, let's go. Right, and that's
You
why
cannot.
you can't do that with them. Like you said, they get they can feel the energy.
Absolutely.
And just by like sitting next to you, I could feel your energy is so positive and opening, like welcoming, I should say. I think your boys got something
it.
so
They
great,
got it. I'm
and
telling
they
you, they
know,
are
like
amazing
they're
young
grabbing
boys.
and they're saying hi to Keisha, so vibrant.
Very
That is
vibrant.
you know, it's just I'm such a loss of words, because she's so great, you know. You see
our
so
kids.
many people give up on their children. They're like, oh, I don't want to deal with this anymore, you know. But
But
like I
you
said,
can't.
I don't know what
can't.
you've been through, you know, so it's hard.
That love that you
It's
have
hard.
when you become a parent is unbreakable. You can't really explain it, because there are no true words. And most of us can procreate, but not all of us
Not all,
can parent.
Right.
I heard that.
You know,
I hear that,
and I believe that sometimes people have children that have special needs and they're not equipped for it. but there are people out there that can be surrogates.
Yeah.
And that's what, even for me, every child, every family, and I think Keisha can attest to it, that every child that I deal with, every family that I come in contact with, that child becomes my child. Wow. There's nothing that I wouldn't do for your child that I wouldn't do for my own.
Big.
You know, like, I always ask people, you know, like, I would be the shield for your child. Wow. And not your child be the shield for me. Because I have boys that are growing up, and I would like to think that if something happened to me today or tomorrow, that somebody will go to bat for my boys,
right?
Just the way that I'm going to bat for them.
Others. How do you get funding to go out and do what you do? Because I feel like, you know, where do we sign up to get you to Congress? You know, because they're not, honestly, I don't know if you follow, she's both Jenny McCarthy's child and Robinson Pete, they always approach that they need more from the government. I mean, I think those people are great people to join forces. How do we get you there? Because you're awesome. You know what I mean? Like, those are the women that are trying so much. Use their celebrity for the right way.
And their platform.
And Keisha, there is still, especially in California, it's like they don't recognize autism.
Thank goodness they got the month, the awareness month.
Right, so that was my question, you know, how do you get your funding, and what do you need from audience that are here? This is your time. Like, what is it lacking, Autism Month or
what could you use some help
community
with?
Yeah, how do
here's the platform is yours, go ahead. We're just going to sit back and let you talk to our view. I just told them if they had a question, go ahead and let us know, but tell them what do you need. If you don't ask, you don't get, so go ahead.
Especially African American people with autism, I think I see more of the Caucasians talking about it. How come we're not talking about it?
I think there's a shame and stigma. Special education is not a condition; it is a service. Right. It is a service. I would tell you, if you had cancer, would you not go to chemotherapy? Right. Would you not go to radiation? Would you not seek, you know, even the not homo? Lord help me.
I know what you're trying to say.
Holistic, yes. Sorry, y'all.
I think you were trying to say homeopathy.
Yeah,
something like that. And it got lost in translation. But the bottom line is that you would explore every venue, opportunity there was.
To live, to survive.
Exactly. And so that's the same way that you need to approach getting help for your child. Now, what do I need? Where do I go for funding? Funding is coming out of my own pockets because I've applied for discretionary funds and any sort of grants, programs with different organizations. I've tried it, but I've been unsuccessful. But it doesn't stop me from doing it. It slowed me down a bit because I ran out of my own personal resources to continue with the same force that I had in the beginning.
Gusto, the wind,
But I didn't stop. I didn't stop. I just scaled back, you know, because as a mother, as a woman of color, we make it work. I got a few lemons. You want some lemonade, lemon meringue pie, put a little lemon zest on stuff. Like, I'll make it work. And so that's what I've been doing up until this point. What I need is more families who are passionate, who have the servitude attitude. Like, you got to have a servant's attitude in order to do this.
We talk about this. Right, Keisha?
Servant leadership.
I mean, here you have a woman of color saying, all I need you guys to do is basically show up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Show up in my corner.
Like, I don't know what else to do. With
autism walk?
The autism walk is going to be postponed. The autism was going to be postponed because we ran into a lot of challenges trying to get it off the ground. We weren't.
Can you join forces with another group?
I'm totally open to that. Like, because this is not for Many Babies by itself. This is not for Autism Speaks by itself. The purpose is to raise awareness and to make resources available to families who have children with special needs. So it's not one against the other. We're all in this together. So it's not me against you.
Right.
Volunteers, that's what I need. I need people. It can't be just my voice only. And my arms are short. I can't reach everyone and everybody. You know, I'm thankful to God and thankful to the other people who have helped me along the way. Level Up Connections, 1040 Pros, United We Stand, who've given me platforms, the Thrive Initiative. I'm grateful for that. Even Circle of Sisters, I went and I got contacts through that. That's how I got connected with Thrive.
Right.
But those venues, they help put my name out there. But now I need extensions.
Right.
Natalie Capers, who was in the trenches with me. Diana Oaks, who was in the trenches with me in the beginning, just launching it. Mark Green. Those individuals.
But you need more people.
But I need more people.
I mean, you know, we always talk about how to help, but when people ask for help, we don't do anything. And I know there's college grads out there, they're looking for internships. This woman,
high school,
could write you a letter for a recommendation. She speaks so eloquently. She's an educated Black woman. Connect with her. You have your children. So many people ask me, write my daughter a letter. I'm like, no, she didn't put the work in. This is a great opportunity, especially summertime is coming up, to do something for somebody. I mean, I just don't understand why those parents also, and like you said, they're fearful and everything like that. But
it's not even, I don't think it's fear. I think it's more embarrassed. They're too embarrassed to care enough for their child to be able to
priorities are not in line.
I'm telling you, I've been to one of her sessions, and I could count on my hand how many people were there of color. I'm just saying, the room. I'm like, okay, this lady went out of her way, her scheduled time to bring this to the community. And the support was lacking. And I'm like, why do we think that we don't need each other?
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
You can't let it stop you.
It
hasn't stopped me, because guess what? If you don't come to an event that I host, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop me from moving forward. It doesn't stop autism from affecting 1 in every 59 families.
I was going to ask you that.
It doesn't stop.
Say that again? 1
in every 59 families. Wow. And that's just the national average. But if you go by community, if the surveyors have full access to the academic records, you will see that those statistics are more staggering. When I tell you, just in New Jersey, 1 in every 39 child has a diagnosis of being on the spectrum.
No, I want to ask this is very controversial.
Especially as a healthcare advocate.
Right, she's an RN, but you want to go?
No, you go.
Because you're the healthcare.
No, you do it.
I want to know, do you think that the vaccines that they give these children at birth, look at her face, is causing autism?
No.
Okay.
That's the short answer.
Okay.
No.
Tell us why. I don't know much about autism, or I just read and I want to pick sense out of nonsense, but I want to hear your opinion. Go.
And it's only my opinion. I am not a doctor. By no means.
Okay.
From what I understand, that this is a neurological condition and that is genetic. If you compare those who have the vaccine, those who have been vaccinated versus those who have not, there's still people who come up with, who still come up with the diagnosis. So there has been conflicting research reports about it. Nothing's been conclusive as yet, but I chose to have my children vaccinated.
Okay, so you did do it.
I mean, I was vaccinated too, and I am not on this. Well, maybe some days.
Yeah, I'm not on the spectrum either. I may have little issues.
Senior
with,
moments, you know.
Yeah, I have quite a few of those. But
Gary, I'm sorry. Is somebody saying anything on Instagram? I got an alert.
But I am not a doctor. That is just my opinion. My opinion can change when I see,
based on the conclusion of the
but there's just not enough concrete evidence out there that I've read yet. If you show it to me, I'll read it, and then I'll come back and issue
a retraction.
I stand corrected.
So listen,
you have a question?
I have a statement. Well, Chanel, hey Chanel, thanks for joining. Hello everyone.
Hello,
I didn't even get to shout everybody out.
I know, we're so indeed.
Don't be apologetic at all. They know that they're.
I
see you. I know you. I love y'all.
We normally like
Chanel,
to say their names.
I said she was just about to ask that same question, and then she says vaccines increase the odds of autism. What do you think about that?
Odds?
The odds. Yes.
It's either you born with it or you don't have it. Or there's some families that have a predisposition for it than others, and that's where you have to go down the bloodline. Like you really have to know who your partners are and their family bloodline.
Yes,
for more reasons than one.
They may have issues with mental health issues than we care to acknowledge.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking autistic words.
And that's part of it.
That part.
You know, Lil Ray wasn't just bad. He really had
was on
something
that
that was off. But you really have to.
Little Ray.
I couldn't think of any other name.
Especially in I think the Jewish community. I think there's a lot of
because of the genetics of like how close their
relative.
bloodlines.
Yes, it's a relative. Let's can we say it?
I don't know.
Gary, I don't know. But
let's check with the attorney.
We all know what we were trying to say. Okay. We don't have an attorney, so we can't say it. But
okay.
All right. So I know we do have to.
We have to wrap up.
We do have to wrap up.
Any questions out there before we wrap up, please?
Last week, y'all came for us, and we tell you the show is 30 minutes. Be on time, as we always tell you guys every week. But this was so dynamic, and I know somebody is going through something.
Yeah.
And this.
My neighbor is definitely, she's probably 31 now. Mm-hmm. She lives at home. She's sometimes very frustrated. You know, it's something she deals with every single day. Wow. Every single day.
And for those of us who have children that are on the spectrum, or if you even suspect anything, go get the evaluations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where do you get that done?
That's good too.
Okay, so I would encourage you to go to the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. You can go on their website. And you go on there and you go through this process called the front door. They will take care of you from apples to nuts, from A to Z. Mm-hmm. You can go to YAI. I went to YAI to have an external evaluation done on my son. Okay. Very independent, go to them. This stuff is, they take, some of the tests can be the evaluators can be quite expensive, but if you have Medicaid, is paid through Medicaid. Okay.
Good to know.
YAI is one of the less expensive places that you can go, where it costs, it's under $1,000. I'll tell you that, because it all depends on how many tests that
they need to
evaluation that your kids.
So you had to pay twice.
Because I have twins. But I tell you this: not everybody is me. Not everybody have the same resources that I have. But nothing is more important than my children. So if I have to work at McDonald's and at the insurance company, that's what I would do. If I have to say, Kiki, can I borrow $200 to get this? I will do that. But that's the dynamics of my family.
And your family.
And I encourage you, do not be ashamed. Just don't be ashamed.
Yeah.
Go through the grief, because this is a grieving process. Yeah. So in order to accept that there's something uniquely different about your child, there's a grieving process that you have to go through. Yeah. There's denial, there's anger and all of that.
Yep.
You know all of that. So go through it, because now once you go through it, pull up your bootstraps and go with it.
Go to work, please. Before we go, can you tell us where we can follow your organization? Mm-hmm. And is there any type of GoFundMe page set up on your link?
Well, actually, we have a campaign that's going on Facebook now, where we're raising funds for ManyBabiesNYC. My website is www.ManyBabiesNYC.org. I am a 501c3.
Really, I'm sorry, just so Gary can type it. It's Many Babies.
Yeah, MANY. Babies plural NYC.org. I am a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So legitimate.
Yeah, legitimate.
Babies BABI.
Donate $1. If all the viewers that we have, Keisha has over 900. I probably have 5. Whatever the numbers, if everybody can give her $1, she can get to the next level with supplies or whatever that she needs.
Because it's expensive.
I know it is.
I print out stuff. I do these presentations for free.
What? Wait, what happened?
I do them for free. I don't charge the families anything, and they have full access to me. I just ask that you don't call me after 9 o'clock, or really after 8, because I do have a family.
Right.
But you know what? Wow. When the phone rings, I pick it
up.
up.
'Cause your
If
heart
they
is so
text,
good.
I answer it.
Let's help her out. Let's see if we can really get her at least what what's a thousand? You know what I mean?
$1,000.
$1,000.
If everybody dropped $20, 20, and I'm being very serious. The last time I did this, people were pouring out, help. If you even want to Zelle me, I will give it to her, or you can give it to her yourself.
I like that, and then we'll give it to her.
If we can get at least 100 people to drop $20
for this foundation,
for this week, for Many Babies,
Please.
we'd be forever grateful. We're talking about future. We're talking about our children. We're talking about wellness. We're talking about resources. She provides it for free. She's not using this money to pay her bills.
Wow.
She's using it to provide those pamphlets. You know what I mean? Her time is valuable, and she's willing to give you the time. I see Chanel has said society also placed a lot of labels on our melanated kids, especially on our boys. So we're talking about twin boys. She educated herself. She went an extra mile and a half, and she was able to do or die. That's pretty much where she was. So please, if anybody, I need at least 100 people. Yeah. I know everybody has friends. Pull up and say, listen, it's for a worthy cause. It's Autism Awareness Month. You see her in the flesh.
Yes,
this is not somebody that we called, and this is not somebody. I know we have to wrap up, Gary. Give me a moment. I have to get this out. We need to be able to support each other a lot better than we do. When we celebrate, we shouldn't celebrate like this. We're celebrating big. And I'm celebrating Schaneick and her family today because, trust me, she went the extra mile, and she's willing to do it for you and your family as well.
Absolutely. We thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Very dynamic. And Keisha, I know you have
I have the quote. Yes.
And Keisha, if you want to facilitate the link for the payment, or how would they do it?
They know my Zelle. It's my phone number, whatever.
Okay. So
but
we'll
put her link in there too for the donation.
Perfect.
My people's on the back end will put it in my Zelle. Okay. So today's quote is from Nipsey Hussle. We're gonna be definitely seeing a lot from him. Most important thing is to get rid of doubt. If you've got doubt in whatever you're doing, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. If she had doubt all the
would've
time,
just been like,
it would have been like, oh, well, you know what, whatever.
Yeah.
Remove the doubt and go ahead for the win.
Yes.
And that's all we have for tonight.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you guys so much for watching. By Instagram, by Facebook.
You guys rock.
Wow, what a show.
You guys really rock.
And he will let us know when we can, he'll end everything. Somebody said, oh, great topic, just